Hi everybody, I'm Virginia Amos and I am back with Linda Constantine of In Time Design. Now the last time you saw us, we were talking about how Linda got started, trends in kitchen design, what she sees going away, what she has seen coming in, and just some of the general questions around renovation of kitchens and cabinetry. So today we're actually going to talk about the process and how you got started. Now for me it was just, I could not stand my kitchen any longer. And I had a stove that did not work except for one eye, so it was like, okay, we have to do something here. But Linda, let me throw that to you. What do you see people doing, or what do you wish they would do before they give you a call?
Just kind of have an idea of what they want.
Okay.
You know, it's better not to get too far into your own research before talking to an expert, because you're going to take yourself down a hole that's going to be very hard for me to pull you out of. So honestly, going on Pinterest, going on Houzz, finding inspiration pictures that you like. And quite honestly, a lot of customers will like a picture, but they don't know why they like that picture. So if I see 5 to 10 pictures of what they like, I can pull what they like about it. They like that it's an off-white kitchen with a walnut island, or they like the blues, or you can see they like the waterfall countertops. That's the easiest thing, and then call us before they get too far down the road.
Okay. My next question was going to be, why should you call a kitchen designer? Which is like me saying, why should you call a realtor? Because you need help. Have you ever been in a situation where somebody has started down that road on their own and then just found themselves going, I can't do this?
Yeah, a lot of times it's when somebody has, like most of the time when that happens, it's when they had to do their kitchen when they weren't expecting to do the kitchen.
Okay.
Maybe they had a flood or maybe a fire or something. And they went down the road, they ordered their cabinets and it doesn't work, and sometimes we'll come in to actually help them figure out a way to make it work.
Okay.
It's very difficult to do that at that point.
Yeah, I bet.
But yeah, I mean, some people do, and again, you just have to say very nicely, well, you can't do this, here's why. I'm sorry you spent so much time going down that road, and pull them back and get them in the right direction.
All right, so let's say if, like me, I knew what I wanted and I needed help, and I call you. What are the next steps?
Well, the first step is to meet in the home.
Okay.
You know, so that we can all stand in there, look together, let you as the client give me your ideas of what you want. We take it all in, offer up different ideas, possibly moving things around, tweaking things around if that's going to give you a lazy Susan where maybe you didn't have a lazy Susan, or just moving a refrigerator arranged a little bit to give symmetry on either side. But that's the first step, just to brainstorm and talk about things and get an accurate measurement of the kitchen.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then do you do an initial design?
So we'll do an initial design, and if it seems like there's 2 or 3 iterations, we'll go ahead and throw together 2 or 3 iterations, and it's in a conceptual stage at that point. We're not going to sit down for hours and hours to get something exactly correct. It's more, hey, here's some options, here's what the pricing looks like, and we'll price the cabinets, we'll price the countertops, and if people don't have a contractor, we have an idea of what labor costs, you know, so we can tell people your kitchen's going to be $40,000 or $60,000 or $80,000. But a big thing is, I do ask clients at that initial appointment, what's your budget? And a lot of them don't want to tell me because they're like, well, if I tell you, you're going to spend it. And my answer is yes, I'm going to spend every penny of your budget to get you the best possible materials and options that you want. There's so many different cabinet lines that are offered. That's how we figure out what budget you're in.
And I would say, and we're standing in front of one of them in my kitchen because it's so small and I'm fighting for space. We went with a line of cabinets that are frameless. They don't have that piece of thing.
They don't have the frame.
They don't have the frame. They don't have that piece of wood where like 2 doors come together.
Well, the frame don't either anymore. But you get bigger drawers in the brand that you.
So for me, that was important. For other people, it may not be, and then it depends. Then that limits you, or rather, ties you into certain colors and certain styles, because not everybody carries everything.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so you kind of have to then pick your, this is mine, as a matter of fact, this is gunmetal blue. I'm very excited about it. And for instance, again, because I have this small kitchen, I'm only going to have lower cabinets and a pantry, which exist already, but it's just going to be built out. And then on the upper level, I'm going to have open shelving. But this blue is going to be used on the outside of
The back of your peninsula.
the back of the peninsula, and we're going to do it in beadboard, but this color. So lots of different options. But that was just, for me, it was important to gain that little inch. And I also happen to have, whoever built my house originally was an idiot. But the way this one cabinet is designed, you literally can't get into it.
Are you talking about the one to the right of your range?
Yes.
So oftentimes I'll be in a kitchen where you might have a drawer that won't open because it hits your range.
Yes.
Because the range sticks out further, and then next to it you have what's called a blind-based cabinet. So I mean, that's where a designer really helps, because we literally can open up that spec book and we see exactly how far you have to pull that off the wall. And if you have a deeper range, you might have to pull it off the wall a little bit more, like what we're having to do for you.
So we found this funky inside of a cabinet that almost looks like a reverse J. And so you pull the drawer out, but the thing goes back like this into the cabinet.
A nice accessory to get in.
Because I don't have room for
A lazy Susan.
a lazy Susan. There's no space. So I'm really excited about this. And I also went with drawers rather than cabinets, because for me, I think drawers function better.
I mean, drawers are one motion. You open the drawer, get the item, shut the drawer. So it's one motion. But if you have tall items, it might not fit in the drawer. So that's where you might do a cabinet that has a drawer at the top. And then when you open the door, you have roll-out trays.
Right.
But they're adjustable.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a combination of them, and it depends on what accessories you have, how many appliances, small appliances do you have, what needs to be stored.
No.
Yeah.
So that's a lot to think about, and that's one thing that I didn't think about doing, but it's almost like you need to make an inventory of what your appliances are, what you're willing to keep on the counter, and what you want stored away.
Absolutely. Yeah, people that bake a lot usually keep their KitchenAid mixer on the counter, and then they say, you know, I want to hide it. So that particular client is probably going to want one of those pullouts that comes up.
I was going to say,
are those
still?
And they're very common right now.
Okay.
You know, and it just allows you to pull it up.
And
Now
there
you can't
are.
use it on that, but it allows you to just move it onto the countertop and plug it in. But then you can tuck it away.
And for me, the other thing was, I don't bake, so I have a KitchenAid,
matter.
but I wasn't too worried about that. I have a lot of cutlery. Long story, but I have a lot. And so the drawers, the double drawers, were really important to me, to have the sliding piece on top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're called wood tiered cutlery dividers. And yeah, all the brands carry that.
Yeah, so that was important to me. So again, it's like customizing the things that you need in your kitchen, and I think it's really hard to do that if you're going to. Wayside is great, but they don't have everything, and you don't know if it's going to fit. That's the thing, you know.
And you know, cabinet brands don't have everything.
That's
so
right.
if we can't find what somebody wants, we can go to a third party, order an accessory, have the installer install it. But sometimes you just can't get what you want, and you end up going to Crate and Barrel or Container Store and finding something that works. That's also ways to save on budget, right? You put in all of these accessories, we're over budget, let's pull some of them out. You can get something cheaper elsewhere.
Right, yeah. So all right, so we have the conceptual design, and then you take out things, maybe it's budget. So what's the next step?
Usually at that point we are coming to the showroom.
Okay.
Where we're standing right now.
Yes, we are in Linda's showroom.
Yeah, and we're going to look at We're going to talk about budget, how are we, and by this time, if we've sent the initial design, they've got some idea of, maybe they've talked to their own contractor to get a formal bid, to have that whole budget together. And so we know, where are we with cabinets? Are we over budget? Are we under budget? Do they want this crazy purple color that requires us to do a premium brand? What does that entail? But in the showroom, we go through all the options of cabinet brands, pros and cons, look at cabinets. We usually come down to knowing what the door style, the finish is, and some ideas on countertops too.
Yeah, I was going to, for instance, with the door style, I have built-in bookshelves in my living room with base cabinets, and so I wanted the kitchen cabinets to mirror what was already in the living room, so it would be a more seamless look.
Yeah, and if you remember what we ended up doing, your built-ins are more traditional that have a raised panel.
Right.
Like
Yes,
this, a raised panel. But we ended up doing the kitchen transitional to give it a little more updated look.
Yeah.
But it has the same kind of edging and profile.
Right.
Except for that raised panel.
Yeah. So there are lots of different things that you can do with it. Now, countertops. I mean, actually, this is a great transition over here. If you look at, and we have messy stuff on here, so don't pay any attention. But as Linda said, she put this table together 10 years ago. And if you look at these marbles,
this is all granite.
It's all granite. I mean,
they don't.
It looks
right.
dated. I mean, it
does.
just is. I mean, this just, you would have it with brown cabinets and it would be the brown kitchen.
It would have been a very updated kitchen back then. Yeah.
That's right.
And honestly, this year we are going to get a new counter that's going to be all quartz. We're not going to even have any granite in the table. It's going to be all the more updated quartz, because you can, I mean, in this table, I'm not sure how well you can see it, but it's very busy. There's a lot of movement going on. Most people want a light countertop with just a little bit of veining, and this just doesn't show that, so we're going to have that. This is one of the ones we're going to have because a lot of people are doing blue, like the blue you're doing in your kitchen. So this is a countertop, very light with a little bit of blue.
And what's the material?
This is quartz.
Okay.
So quartz really is honestly 90% of what people do now.
And is quartz, is that a natural material?
It's a man-made material that requires no maintenance.
Okay. And
right? I mean, you have to wipe it up, obviously.
It's made out of
quartz. 95% quartz, and the rest of it is just to give it its color and whatever is going to be going on in there. And then, you had asked me at one point, when do you use granite? Granite is less expensive, not exotic granites. I mean, if you look at exotic granites, they are absolutely gorgeous. So that's kind of in a different category. But you can get some granites for like $35, $40 a square foot. So when I'm doing granite, it's usually somebody who's selling their home. And we do as light of a granite as we can, because it's just very nice price point.
But what about the maintenance?
You just have to seal it like once every other year or so.
Okay.
Most people don't. And if you feel the granite, if you feel it and you feel bubbling or pits in it, that's when it needs to be sealed. Okay. But if it feels smooth, it doesn't need to be sealed.
And are there companies that do that specifically, that come in and seal?
Well, you can go to Home Depot and buy a sealer and do it yourself. Yep.
But I haven't bought my countertop yet, so this may be
if you haven't,
a new option.
But if you haven't done it, or if you have like a nick in the granite, or even problem with the quartz, something happens where, I mean, it is very difficult to hurt granite or quartz, but it is possible. I mean, we've all been around teenage boys who do some crazy things, but the company that installs the granite can come in and fix that. Like they fill it and fix it, and they can seal it and do it professional.
Okay. Now, where does marble fall in this?
That's a tough one because there's different types of marble. I mean, usually marble, you think of that in a bathroom because it is more brittle. Okay. But there are marbles that are just as strong as quartz. So it's kind of like if somebody goes to a countertop company and they find quartzite. Well, quartzite can be very brittle and quartzite can be really hard. It's literally that specific piece of stone. Okay. So if my clients pick something and they love it. Our fabricators are so good, they tell us, hey, this is, here's the price, but make sure your client knows that this is really brittle.
Okay.
And
what was it that bakers liked because it stayed cool? Was it marble or granite?
I mean, bakers sometimes like corian because it stays warm. But quartz and granite is going to be cold.
Okay.
It's going to be cool to the touch.
I think it's granite. People would have like a section, and that was where you would.
But
go
granite
around,
and quartz are going to be the same kind of touch to the touch.
So now you've picked out your cabinets and the design, and you're picking out your countertops. What do you do when people want to pick out appliances?
Well,
you send them
we
someplace.
guide them through the process. Basically, we know based on the design what size your appliances are going to be, whether you're doing wall ovens and a cooktop, or if your microwave is going to be a microwave drawer, above the range, or in a shelf. So we have vendors that we know the sales reps for that we're happy to introduce, but the clients really go there to speak to the experts.
Okay.
And you can go anywhere to get your appliances as long as we know what you're getting and make sure that it's going to fit within the
And
design.
like for you told me that it would be advantageous to get a counter depth refrigerator because it would make my kitchen look larger.
Yes.
Okay.
Which is a lot of times, in most cases, it's better to get a counter depth to make things larger, but if you're a big family, it doesn't have enough capacity.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Unless you have another refrigerator in the garage but we can make it look built in either way.
Yeah. Okay. And finally, we have to do hardware. Okay, so next up is hardware, and I can really get lost. I love hardware, and I think it just can make a real difference in what you do. So obviously you have a variety here, and there's just a lot of hardware out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's too many to choose from, and most clients would prefer me to say, just give me 3 choices so that I could pick. But it's one of the very last things that gets installed in your kitchen.
Okay.
So it's not a rush to get it. I prefer actually that they pick their appliances first. Let's see what type of handles the appliances have, because if the appliances have handles that are very smooth. Maybe you want your hardware to mimic that. But there's also so many different finishes. You can do black hardware, antiquing hardware. It is literally a preference. And the clients really need to look at Pinterest, House, pictures of other kitchens to say, I really like this in my hardware. And then we talk about how wide it's going to be and how small it's going to be.
Right. And also, I mean, I think there's preferences to do you want a knob or do you want a bar? And how do you hold on to things? And,
one of the things with, it used to be, because everybody says, what's the standard for hardware? What do you do? There really isn't a standard, but it used to be when I started, on doors you would do knobs, and on drawers you would do handles. But if you look at pictures, that's swapped, or all knobs or all handles. But one of the things now is all cabinets, as a standard, come with the full extension soft close.
Soft close, yeah.
Which means you have a harder time with that initial opening of the drawer because it's holding it back. So aging in place, knobs are not good for drawers because you have to grip and pull as opposed to putting your hand behind a handle.
Right. And then of course you have the retro. I mean, this is just as...
You know what? This is coming back.
I love them. I've always liked them. But I mean, that's really like a 1930s, 1940s kind of feel to it.
That is a bit retro, yeah.
Well, I haven't picked out my hardware yet, and I'm kind of going with the gold theme in my kitchen, and it's really going to depend on what the refrigerator handles look like.
I agree.
And on the stove, that's going to make a big difference. One thing that came up on a Facebook conversation the other day, and I would never have thought this was a big deal, but was where to put where or if you should have a button for your disposal as opposed to the switch on the wall. Now in my kitchen, the switchers in a ridiculous place.
Right.
And I always get the light and the disposal mixed up. They're side by side.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, no, let's put it on the counter.
I mean, usually if your sink is in the island or a peninsula like yours is, you have to do a garbage disposal button. You know, there's nowhere to do a switch. And if you really don't want to do a button, your switch to the garbage disposal can be in the cabinet under the sink. But in general, if a sink is under a window and you have a wall back there, usually the garbage disposal is a switch there.
Is there any danger, like if it's on the counter, of water getting in there?
Not
that
really.
seemed to be the big discussion, that people would spill things and water would affect
I mean,
it.
if you spill something really bad, you might have to kind of pull it out and wipe it down.
Okay.
But no, they're
Get the
made.
hairdryer
They're made
out.
knowing that it's near a sink.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're
Well,
fine.
that makes me feel better. All right, so we've picked out everything now, and you finish up the order, and you have all the details, and you get me to sign off on it and give you money, which was really very scary. Not that I didn't trust Linda, but it's like, you're writing that big check.
You're taking that step. You're literally taking that step.
You're making that commitment.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like earnest money deposit. When you put in when you're putting in a contract on
really
a house,
happening.
and it's really happening. Okay. So then we're probably looking 3 to
We'll just say
3
2 to 3 months for
2
right
to 3
now.
months.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so then when everything comes in, I get a call from you.
Right, so I mean, I keep in touch with the clients and the contractor when the cabinets are coming so that they can set up the start date. Our team is going to put together very detailed drawings for the installers, because the drawings that you get don't tell the exact size of the fillers
Right.
and the exact way the molding is going to be installed.
Okay.
And so we have drawings that are going to go to the contractor for that. And then during the installation, we're available by phone, job site visit, whatever is required,
Okay. So
to make sure that everything's.
You do come visit.
We do keep going until the very, very, very end, and till that final check is written. Right,
Okay.
we're there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Well, personally, I'm very excited about getting this done. It's been a long time coming, and it's just exciting, and it's just fresh, if nothing else, And it makes you, at least this is what I'm telling myself, that I am going to cook more and I'm going to cook better in my new kitchen.
I think you will. Yeah. Because I mean, think about when they say when you start working and you get to your desk, if your desk is messy, your mind is messy and you're not as productive working. So if you walk into the kitchen and you just love how it looks, you're going to want to stand in there and play with it.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Although I do have to get new pots because of my induction
Yes, you are going to
cooktop,
have to
but-
get new pots.
But you know what somebody told me about? She was getting an induction cooktop too, and I don't know what we were talking about, but she said that her architect had told her, and I thought this was brilliant. We were talking about, she said practically all I cook is bacon, and we laughed and talked about the grease. And she said her architect told her that you could literally put down like newspaper on the cooktop and cook the bacon, and so when the grease splattered, it would go on the newspaper, and it was over, you just rolled it up and threw it away.
Well, when you try that, let me know. I've never heard that. That is a that's a great idea.
I'll call you to come over,
Yeah.
and we'll have BLTs.
But only on induction.
Only on,
Yeah, only on induction.
Only on induction. We'll see if that works. Well, this has been so much fun. I really hope that you all have learned something, why it's important to work with professionals. It really does save you money in the end. It makes a huge difference. I'm so happy working with Linda. We've had a great time through the tears of delays, but it's all going to come to fruition. And actually, when we do get it all set up, we'll do another video and we'll walk you through. I'll do some before and after pictures, and we'll walk you through what happened.
That sounds
How's
great.
that?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you in a couple weeks.